Let's see. Good afternoon. Uh, it's noon. Well, it's afternoon here in Fort Worth, Texas. Um, Back just a few hours ago, one of my projects is I started going through looking at some of the things that I pay for, and I canceled. What was it? Click something or other that's tied in with uh, Word, I think, or Office or something. And I thought, I don't need that. I deleted it. Then I was looking for some other stuff, and it's really hard to find anything else. But I know there is. But I know that just going through the menu thing, um, going to the start and then going to down the list, it doesn't show all that stuff up all that way. I mean, some stuff isn't included in that list. So I thought, well, I got to go through and find some of the stuff that I'm undoubtedly paying for that I'm not even using and I don't even know that I have. And then it's funny, I went to check my bank account, and luckily I just put a little bit of money in there, so I'd have some extra in there. And I saw that I think it was $119, I think it was taken out yesterday out of the bank. And from the entry, on the thing, it was like, what is that? And so then let's see, what did all that I do? I ended up going to PayPal. I think it might have said PayPal came through, and I went to PayPal. And then I went to payments from PayPal, and then I saw, that it had been, that was it. And then I guess I was able to tell by guessing that it was for, it was a 1 year thing. And that it was an antivirus program. And I stopped running antivirus programs a long, long time ago because it's just. And so I saw that they had, I had paid a year ago, September, for it, $119 or whatever. So I went to I was already at PayPal, so I went over there to, say, hey, I don't remember signing up for this, and too, a lot of those things, they really make it, hard for you to unsign, or make it very easy for you just to click something to take the service or whatever. So I went to the PayPal thing, that I was going to protest it, and then automated thing popped up, and I'm sure PayPal had this set up, for them, saying, hey, this is such and such. This is an automated thing, though. Nobody wasn't popped up and said, if you have a complaint about us, we will take care of it. There's no need for you to pursue this through PayPal. We will fix it for you. It will be fixed. So I went ahead and clicked, okay, go ahead and take care of it. And then I could leave a comment. I said, I don't remember ever signing up for this, and I'd appreciate very much. You said you'd take care of this where I wouldn't have any, that I'd be satisfied. And so I'm not proceeding with the next step. I'll give you a very short period of time. And if it's not taken care of immediately, I will go ahead and go through PayPal. And then I said, also, I have a YouTube site. And I'll give you a little bit of time. If it's not taken care of, then I'll be posting about this on my YouTube site. By the way, that used to work really, really well, like even before YouTube in a way, when I had a WordPress site. It was amazing when I had the WordPress site, and I was posting like things every day. And I don't know how many times, a dozen times or more, I had a complaint and I posted it there, and these companies have people that are sitting at computers all day long watching for something to pop up about their company or their service or whatever. And I would get contacted immediately. Oh, Mr. Howard, we saw your comment about such and such, and we will fix this for you immediately, Mr. Howard. And I remember once, well, we moved in Florida, and had to change internet service providers. And so a guy showed up who didn't speak English. He only knew 2 words in English, and it was cable, TV, and internet. Those were the only 2 words that he knew. This was an apartment complex thing. So I went over and asked a neighbor, of course, we hadn't actually moved in. We were in the process of moving in, but I went over and I said, do you happen to speak to a neighbor? Do you happen to speak Spanish there? And so she came over, and then, so anyway, this guy was there for hours. I mean, hours and hours. He was there. And, trying to get us hooked up to internet and to television. And he got calls several times by the guy that he was supposed to be working with, because this should have been a thing. Come over and plug something in, and that's it. And so finally he said, well, I can't get the internet working, I think it was, but the TV's working. Of course, I really wasn't interested in the television, thing at all. And so then he left, And so then I was looking at the television. I guess I did have it. I guess he did get his internet, and the television was a problem. And then I was looking at, wait a minute, this is, I forget what it was, something that Miami had set up a deal with, which major company was it? But they had, done contracts or whatever with Miami that they were going to put into every home high-speed internet to every home, and they were going to, do it with cable, by running cables all through, up and down every street and whatever. And then I guess they decided, whoops, no, we're not going to do that because, there's other things that are coming, Wi-Fi, and all these things were coming. And so they gave up on that. So there was in our area, there was a box out by the curb, that was their company. And so I'm looking at this, and then I see, wait a minute, we're getting this stuff from out there. He'd run a line out there and hooked me into that. So I was getting whatever the company was, their schedule of TV stuff or whatever. So anyway, I blogged about this, and immediately I was contacted, and it was a Sunday, or maybe I posted it late Saturday night or something. But I was contacted immediately. Mr. Howard, we will be sending out our supervisor and a couple people to take care of this immediately for you. And sure enough, they came out on a Sunday, and they couldn't find with the apartment building they couldn't find the thing, the box. But they said, okay, Mr. Howard, we're going to run a line underneath the ground, over to your place from this box that's over at this other building over there to you. And then the people will be out in a day or two to cover up that and everything. So I said, fine. So several months later, I was coming back from someplace, And instead of walking down the sidewalk, because where we were living there, uh, you could just walk down the sidewalk, and right there was our door, and there was a bus stop right there and everything too. And that's out there where that box for that other company was, whichever one it was. But as I was walking, I walked by some of the apartment buildings, and I was looking over at a couple. They had a bunch of, like it was a patio thing that comes out with a, like we have here, except a little bit bigger. And a lot of people had plants and that kind of stuff there. And as I was walking, I saw these boxes outside, on outside of these apartment buildings. And so I was looking at somebody, they had a bunch of plants and everything. I looked over, and they're inside of their small enclosed area was one of these things coming up out of the ground. Somehow when they laid these things out, maybe they laid them out before the buildings were built or something. I don't know, but it was inside there it was, a few feet, down was that box that they had been looking for that was right there. So, but anyway, my WordPress thing, there was a whole bunch of things like that I commented about, and then somebody came back immediately and said, "We'll take care of this, Mr. Howard, for you. We're very sorry that this happened." And then a bunch of time went by, and I think I was still doing WordPress, but of course I was also streaming, but I went to an ATM right across the street that's before we moved to this place I was telling you about where they had to, but so I walked across the street where I was working at that time at that mall security, and I walked across, and it was payday or whatever, so I went to take some money out of the ATM there in the mall. Came back some kind of a error code, so I knew I worked there, so I walked over to the other side of the mall, inside the mall, did the same thing, some type of an error message. So then I walked out the front, the mall, and there was a bank on the property, not connected to the building, but, with right over there. So I went to the bank, and outside they had a terminal. And so I, put the thing in, and it showed, dispensing the money or whatever. No money came out. So I went inside of the bank, and it was the same bank, Went inside of the bank, and the guy said, "Oh yeah, but they're having trouble with the thing." I thought, well, I'd like to get my money, out. Some of it, not all of it, but I want to get my money out, And he said, "Well, it'll probably take about 30 days. I said, "What? 30 days? You're kidding, "Oh, no, it'll take 30 days. I said, "That's not acceptable." And so down the street was, a few blocks away, was another bank that was the same bank or whatever. So I went down there, and they were like, "Yeah, in 30 days or whatever, you'll get your, we know what the problem is, and you'll get your money, then or whatever." So so that's the only time I've ever done that, I think. I said, "Listen, I have a YouTube site and a WordPress site or whatever, and I'm gonna blast the hell out of you people, and you're really gonna be sorry." And the person's attitude was, "No, we won't." And I thought, okay, you're gonna be sorry, because I had not been trying to be an asshole or any of the other things. It was just people would find me, companies would find me and say, "Mr. Howard, we'll take care of you." So I did a big old long thing about it, and nothing happened I eventually got my money back, but the bank went out of business. I mean, the chain, it was a small chain, I guess. They totally went out of business, but I had nothing to do with that. That's why I think they had that attitude of, yeah, we don't care, because they knew they were, going out of business. Maybe they were bought out, I don't know. But so I, that WordPress thing that I had, now a lot of people use Word, a lot of major corporations and industries, and everybody uses, WordPress. But for me, actually, well, it worked out well. But the only thing is, everything they had, I had it all set up, neat, everything. And then, oh, okay, I can do such and such. Okay, that was an extra, thing. And they just had all these extra things, and the price of them kept going up. And I thought, I can't afford, can't afford that. One time, all of a sudden, I was getting people from Brazil logging into my WordPress site. And I thought, what's going on? So I don't speak Portuguese or Spanish. I'm lucky I speak English. And so a newspaper down in Brazil or whatever, a writer had written something and mentioned, Howard's Notebook or whatever, and just from then people in that thing were logging in. There wasn't anything there I think that they wanted or whatever, but yeah, that was a good times. But believe me, honestly, I only pulled that thing. Only tried that one time, and that was on that bank thing, because everything else was always taken care of. But I got on this subject for some reason, somehow. Oh, yeah, this thing with this thing. So I'll see if they take care of it. It sounded like they would take care of it. It sounded like they did not. Maybe they had a lot of complaints going to PayPal, and maybe PayPal said, okay, any more problems like this, because they could probably tell, because everybody was probably saying, I didn't sign up for them. They probably had a site that, was really confusing, Oh, okay, I'm not interested. Click, and you were signed up probably with them. So we'll see if I get my money back, and I really need the money, I think it was $119, I think it was, or something like that, for a year of their service. Anyway, I think I'll lay down and take a nap. Thanks very much for watching.